The American Legislative Exchange Council, or ALEC, is a conference made up of conservative politicians and lobbyists with a stated goal of hammering out policy position. Attending this year's event in San Diego are Republican presidential hopefuls Governor Scott Walker, Senator Ted Cruz, and former Governor Mike Huckabee. Here with more on the event and opposition to it are my guests, San Diego County Democratic Party Chair Francine Busby and Ron Nearing, Vice Chair of San Diego County's Republican Party. And Francine, why is the Democratic Party involved with protests against ALEC this week?
Well, it's actually larger than the Democratic Party. However, the protest for two reasons. One is ALEC is an organization where corporations spend tens of thousands of dollars to come and be in the same room with legislators who they host there, and they actually hand them legislation that's ready-made, prefab to take home to their state houses and to enact. And there is no visibility, there's no accountability or transparency as lobbyists normally would have. And so it's just a lack of transparency and democracy.
And so, Ron, how would you respond to that? First of all, are you attending this year's conference?
I am. I'm one of the speakers at a training session. It sounded like Francine just described how the Senate and the Assembly Democratic caucuses work, because they meet in private. They meet with lobbyists all the time. They meet with lobbyists behind closed doors. So, I don't know how this is all that different than how the Democrats who are running Sacramento operate.
Do you want to respond to that?
Well, absolutely. The Democrats, when they meet with lobbyists, there are rules about transparency. There are no gifts. There have to be reporting. ALEC actually pays tens of thousands of dollars, or the corporations pay to come there. ALEC is a nonprofit charitable organization that does education. But in fact, they are highly influential to these for these legislators, and the kind of legislation they're passing should be daylighted.
Sure. So let me ask you the goal, Ron, of this event. What is the goal of this event? Is it to pass legislation?
Well, typically what this is an annual meeting of legislators from around the country, bipartisan group of legislators, Democrats, Republicans, etc., who get together and share ideas, best practices, what's happening in their respective states. There'll be a lot of talk about the focus of ALEC is on economic and individual liberty issues. The economy is a major issue. That'll be the bulk of the discussion that takes place here. ALEC puts out a wonderful publication every year called Rich States, Poor States. That's an analysis of how each state is doing economically, both in terms of its condition and its outlook. It's information like that that people on the left don't particularly like to hear, and so that's why you have some protests going on about that type of thing.
Well, let me get to the bigger picture here, though, and I'll start with you, Ron, and then Francine, where does groups like ALEC fit into the political process? Do you think they should be part of the political process?
Well, of course. We have a constitution which preserves the freedom of assembly, which protects the freedom of assembly, so that people can get together and share their ideas and so on. And sometimes they get together and the media is not invited. When I was running for lieutenant governor and I did editorial board meetings around the state, nobody else was invited to those meetings, and yet substantive issues were being discussed and bills were being discussed, legislation, and so on.
Let me get Francine's take on this. First, Francine, also, where does it fit in the political process? And also, aren't there liberal groups that are similar to this, that hold conventions and meetings like this to discuss political policy?
102 corporations have dropped their affiliation with ALEC. One of them was Google, and Eric Schmidt came out and said that because of their denial of climate change, he said they're basically lying to people. And it's not just this benign group of people coming together. These are people with agendas. We have people who are climate deniers. You have people who are injecting chemicals into the ground and don't want liability. You've got stand your ground gun laws.
Do liberals have a similar group that meets for their agenda items?
I think that there are groups that meet, but I certainly don't think that there's a 40-year history of this cozy relationship between huge moneyed interest and legislators that are spoon-fed and take it back all over the country.
And your response?
First, the legislators who run Sacramento, the Democrats, meet privately with lobbyists all the time. They'll meet behind closed doors. They don't invite the media. They don't invite anyone else, and they have millions of dollars that are exchanging hands every day, every year. In addition to that, the left does have a group. It's called the State Information Exchange, or SIX, that was formed directly to be their version of ALEC and is conducting itself in not all that dissimilar a manner. Look, legislators are going to get together. They're going to share ideas. They're going to share best practices, and they're all going to be held accountable by their voters back home. These are all legislators who attend the ALEC meetings or are elected by their constituents.
Let me bring this back locally. Francine, has Mayor Faulkner responded to your request to not attend this conference, or will he be attending?
We have not had a response from him. It's my understanding he is attending, and we really object. We've asked him not to because he portrays himself as a moderate Republican, And we feel that ALEC, represented by Mike Huckabee, Governor Walker, and these others are extreme Republicans. Governor Walker's passed 20 different ALEC bills, and their agenda is not in sync with San Diego's.
Well, we have to end it, but I do want to get a response from you, Ron. Do you happen to know if the mayor here in San Diego will be attending?
I don't know, but I certainly hope that he does. I think that the mayor's done a great job recovering from all the damage done by Democrat Mayor Bob Filner, and Kevin Faulconer has done a wonderful job ensuring that meetings are coming to San Diego and that we're bringing business to San Diego. I think it's a good thing to have meetings and conferences taking place in San Diego, whether it's ALEC or whether it's Comic-Con or anyone else.
All right, Ron Nearing and Francis Busby, thank you so much.
Thank you.